Radio Free Skaro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 704. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
We're in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Welcome to September, everyone. It is the month of September now, as you listen to this.
We're 1 month closer to Doctor Who, as you like to say.
Yeah, I know. Usually it means it's just around the corner. It's not. Hockey's around the corner.
I don't care.
I know you
Checking
don't
out
care.
early.
It seems that everything is happening there's your Star Wars show coming on in November, I guess. There's your Star Wars movie
December.
coming December.
Oh, show, yes, all right. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
And then of course Doctor Who sometime in the new year. It looks like it's not going to be Christmas now because apparently there was a
Titan Comics did a little maybe spoiler thing.
a spoiler thing by saying that the actual it's funny how we just assumed, I think it was mostly hope actually, that fans well, sure, they say they're coming back in early 2020, but they're going to do a Christmas special. Come on.
I think it was a New Hope, in fact.
I get it. Star
That's terrible.
Wars.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
So it's a ways away still, Doctor Who, but that's fine because we can, instead of looking, guessing when Series 12 is going to be, we are instead revisiting Series 11, starting this episode with our commentary series. Episode 1, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, with Sejong joining us for the commentary of that. So yeah, you could listen to that. That's happening here in this episode. We'll have all 11 episodes, the 10 episodes of Series 11 plus the New Year's special resolution over the next few weeks, with a break potentially, hopefully, for some Doctor Who news at New York Comic Con. Now that is next month as of recording this because that's the first week of October. Mm-hmm. And right now, it's the Christopher Eccleston World Tour will be going through New York Comic Con for his panel at Thursday at 11 a.m., which is traditional. Well, I wouldn't say traditionally, but in the past there's been actual Doctor Who panels. I think Peter Capaldi actually had a panel on a Thursday a.m. as well. Anyway, New York Comic Con, there's an actual proper interview panel with Christopher Eccleston at New York Comic Con, Thursday, October 3rd on the main stage, where they tweet about, he says he will discuss his roles in Thor, The Dark World, The Leftovers, and Doctor Who. Doctor Who is third on that.
Does he actually mutter that last bit? No,
and Doctor Who.
Neither of you have watched The Leftovers, have you?
No.
Nope, I've heard it's good, but I have not watched it.
Yeah, no, watched it.
It's quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
And only at purposefully limited to 3 seasons is quite digestible as well.
Oh, I like it when shows say, you know what, 3, that's it. This is our remit. Let's not just try and keep this money train going. Let's just call time on this.
Yeah.
So Eccleston will be there. We're working back, and then also he's back in the UK actually on September 23rd, Monday, September 23rd. Christopher Eccleston, I Love the Bones View. That's the title of his new book that's coming out on the 19th, which is about his career, but also more how it relates to the life and death of his father, who was living with dementia, I think, towards the end of his life a bit. And so his book's all about that sort of thing. And he's doing a presentation or a talk about it, and also will be signing copies. That's at the National Theatre. £9 you could have that. You could go to that. So go to that if you can. If you can't make New York Comic Con, or indeed, if you can't make the Monday, September 23rd one, that's just 2 days after he's going to be here in this city, this very city that you and I, Chris, are in, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, for Edmonton Expo. He's on the Saturday of the convention, only the Saturday.
Well, he's got to get on a plane to go I'll get on a plane to get back to Britain from Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
That's how he's going to be feeling when he gets back there.
I know. Well, now we know why he's only appearing on the Saturday. The autograph price for one Mr. Eccleston is $100 here. The photo op price is $110.
Subject to change.
Subject to change. Could go down. Won't go down.
It's not going to go down. It never goes down.
No. The schedule for Edmonton Expo will come out before September 6th, so their website promises. So we'll actually see if he even does a panel, because he's doing one at New York Comic Con officially for the first time, I think, in from what I can tell, he's doing a panel, because I feel like any quote he would say about Doctor Who would have hit the internet and been torn up to bits, because I think he just did autographs and photo ops at London Comic Con the past 2 years. So it's not guaranteed that he'll do an actual panel at Edmonton Expo either, but we shall see. But he's certainly doing one at New York Comic Con. So yeah, Christopher Eccleston. Remember all those years where he would never talk about Doctor Who, and now look at him. He's a sellout. Christopher Eccleston, the sellout. He's fine. I'm very happy.
You told him. You showed him what was what.
I'm super happy that he's mellowed, or at least he's enough time has passed where he can start talking about his wonderful career, including that time when he was TV's Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. You might be surprised by this, but there's not much news in the way of Doctor Who. Very little. Yeah. Like, they're just making it, I guess. Like, as we said last week, they're making the show again after that, bit of hiatus for Comic-Con that they never went to. But they're making it, and they're shooting it outside somewhere, and they might be done. So I'm hoping that in the next few weeks they will be done, and then they can go to New York Comic-Con and do a panel on it, and then we can talk about that panel and all the stuff that comes out of it on this.
We get a trailer, and we can assume things that are not true about the whole thing, because that mostly shots from the first 2 episodes.
Well, you'd hope so, but again, no guarantee. No guarantee with this publicity shy era of Doctor Who. Like, you don't want to tell everyone about it right away or at all. So that's kind of what they're leaning. So I'm hoping that Doctor Who comes to New York Comic Con. But after the weird kerfuffle with San Diego Comic Con, I'm not taking anything for granted. So. But hey, there are some other interesting things to tell you about on the internet that have taken place. First off, I think in order of appearance, there's this Gallifrey Stands video, which is basically the Confession Dial put it together, where it is a reimagined and expanded upon version of the climactic scene of the Day of the Doctor, where the Doctors like all join hands and sing songs and like save Gallifrey at the end and stuff. But it actually features like a bunch of different clips from previous stories and stuff, and works everyone in as opposed to just quick little clips. I think it's kind of well done. And it makes me remember our Gallifrey Stands video that we made ourselves all those years ago, and think back on it fondly.
It nearly broke my computer, so I'm a little less fond than you, but I'm still.
You got another one, didn't you? You've got a new one since.
What's that?
You had a new.
Oh yes. That computer has since shuffled off to the old computer, so I sold it on Craigslist.
Yeah. So that's cool. Links in the show notes if you want to have a look at that one. Also, which is really which dropped today as we recorded this on a Friday. Pip Madeley, who we've mentioned their work before on this here podcast, does very amusing little videos and like crazy cuts and stuff of compilations and everything like that. Well, for some reason, Harry Sullivan is like the force on the internet right now, because the
it's his dolly. That's why.
Well, he's got
Everybody
a dolly.
The Big Finish short trip.
Yep.
Thing came out.
It's Big Finish short trip coming out. Like, I think Harry Sullivan was like trending for a little while in the UK. Anyway,
it was.
Pip Madeley put together the opening title sequence of a spoof, sadly, TV series from the 1970s called The Ministry, and it's wonderful, and you should watch it.
Oh, it's glorious.
It is wonderful. So, links in the show notes to watch that one. Delightful stuff by people on the internet this week on Radio Free Skaro. Also, hey, another BBC audiobook coming your way in November 7th, 2019. Doctor Who Vengeance on Varos, the Sixth Doctor novelization by Philip Martin, unabridged. read by Martin Jarvis, Sir Martin Jarvis. He's not actually a sir, but I think he should be. He's really good. He was, of course, in Vengeance on Varos as the governor, so he reads that, and you can get it on November 7th in the UK for like $20 or something like that. I think that's what it is. Yeah,
20 quid. Yeah,
20 quid. Still good stuff. And then lastly, because that's it, folks. No streaming debates or anything like that this time around.
No 20 minutes of Star Wars talk.
None of that. No
Disney Plus banter.
Yeah, VorpCon is happening the second weekend of September up in Manchester. And Warren, there's something going on one of the stages. What is it?
Fellow Dollyman Custom Who on Instagram, who does much more detailed, like he'll actually modify dollies and put them in cool situations, whereas I'll just put pithy remarks under mine. Right. But we've become allies somewhat because of our shared dolly insanity. Anyway, and I don't actually know his real name, and that's probably for the best, because maybe he doesn't want it known, but he is doing, or has done by this time, a talk with the guys from Character Options at VorpCon. So I told him I'd do a shout out.
Oh, very cool. So like Al Dewar of Character Options is there. Al Dewar is the one who did the big unboxing
Apparently
video.
So, yes.
Yeah, when they did all the recent range that is now on sale at B&M. I've seen people tweet pictures of going to B&M and getting all these action
dollies. If you're a
dollies.
dollyist, this is your panel, my friends.
That is. Yeah. When's it happening? 11 a.m. or something like that in the Hartnell stage?
Something like that, yeah. And also, we both,
stage.
in our back and forth,
11:30.
In our back and forth, we both celebrate, not lamented, that Action Dolly is somehow becoming the nom de plume for this stuff, because we've relentlessly been beating it into the ground for years, and so it keeps going. He said, I think it should be on the packaging myself.
Action Dollies. Look at that. We've influenced the world, Warren.
Well, in a small and some would say trivial way.
Yeah, well, it's better to do that than to blow it all up, isn't it?
I guess so.
All right, well, that's it. That's it for the news, everyone. After the break, the very first of our Series 11 commentaries, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, with Sage Young. Yeah, welcome back, everyone. It's the first commentary for Series 11. And who better to join us on this journey, the beginning of this journey, than the movies editor for Bustle.com and one half of the gestalt that is Head Over Feels. It's Sage Young. Hello, Sage.
Hi. That's amazing. We've never been described that way, but I really enjoy it. So much pressure to be the first.
Well, you won the lottery, I guess. I don't know. You chose it. This episode was popular amongst a good few people, but I think you were the only one that had it first, so it was a relatively easy. Yeah, I know. We should publish the results of the draft.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
At the end of this, to see where it was sort of like an informal little poll from all the people who were doing the commentaries to see where they ranked, but. Yeah. I want to also point out before we get going here that we are recording. You're listening to this in early October, folks, but we are recording this on Tuesday. Well, Sage isn't anymore. It's gone past midnight where she is, but it's Tuesday, July 16th, 2 years to the day when Jodie Whittaker was actually unveiled as the new Doctor at halftime during Wimbledon. So what a momentous occasion this is. And of the four of us, you're the only one, Sage, that actually interviewed her for an article on Bustle.com. Isn't that right?
I did, and I got to watch this episode in advance, which I have...
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, not ever gotten to do before. So the first time I watched this episode, it was in my room by myself, which was cool on one hand because you're like, oh, cool, I get to see this early. But then it was like, oh, I wish I got to experience this for the first time with everybody else. But, I got to talk to Jodie Whittaker, so I truly cannot complain.
Yeah, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. Yeah. What's she like?
Feel sorry for me.
Yeah, what's Jodie like?
Oh, my God. She is so bubbly and very warm. She just had, like, a really great time, like, from the second that she walked into our little studio area. You know, she knew exactly like what music she wanted to listen to, not in like a weird demanding way, but she was like, oh, you guys have to hear this person. You have to hear this. And then, was just truly having the time of her life. And was really very sweet and clearly understood, like, even though she, kept saying that she is a new Whovian, in addition to, wanting to be the cause of new Whovians coming into the fandom, like she is a new Whovian, but also seemed to like really be conscious of what she was taking on and how important it was to a lot of people. So we just had the best time with her. And I was like, when she walked out the door, everyone was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "No." But yeah, it was lovely.
Did she use the term Whovian?
She did.
Yes! Take that, non-Whovian liking people.
She said it in her accent, which I cannot do and I won't do, but she said, "I'm a new Whovian." And I was like,
beautiful.
"Yeah, you are."
The jihad continues,
Whovian.
UK contingent.
Yeah. Yeah, a certain number of UK people do not like that. So to hear the UK doctor actually pronounce it that way, maybe
It's canon now. Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, maybe BBC America coached her on it rather. But I don't know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we are delaying the inevitable here. It's an hour and 5 minute long episode. So let's save our precious banter for perhaps the slow parts of this episode. Although I think it's not exactly a episode that drags, but I assume you have your legally purchased copies of the Blu-ray and or Laserdisc or iTunes or whatever you have of The Women Who Fell to Earth. Good, because here we go. And by the way, I just want to point out that our copies include the little BBC logo at the very beginning of it. So if yours don't, you're out of luck. Or you could just wait until the BBC logo ends. Anyway.
Count to 10 and then hit...
Is it 10 seconds? Wow.
10 seconds.
Man, that adds to it. All right. Well, here we go. The Woman Who Fell to Earth in 3, 2, 1, play. There it is. Look at that. I like
very 1970s.
The BBC logo? Oh, I think it's kind of nice.
No, the spiky thingy is coming off of it.
Oh, yeah. It is kind of like BBC Micro or something, yeah.
Okay, one thing I noticed as I fired this up is this great complaint at the top. Weekly complaining bulletin office log.
Yeah. I love these. I love the other YouTube videos. They're great. Cake, part 6 of 20. What's that about?
Well, the secret pigeon thing, I seem to remember, had a bit of a groundswell. Like, is this going to be a thing?
Oh, God. Of course it did.
It's so clearly random. I also love how Ryan's is just, "Hey."
Yeah, I'm just going to say, like, SEO. Yeah, he's got 11 likes, like 11 thumbs up and 2 down. Like,
he doesn't ask anyone to like and subscribe, does he? Please tell me. Oh, Grace, damn it.
No, but I just
knowing what's
think
coming, this is not good.
He has a small yet dedicated fan base. He has 19 viewers, but everyone leaves like a comment or a like.
No one really talked about this when this happened, but like, is he a YouTuber, or was this just, it just really seemed like he was just getting out his feelings, which is just even more sad and bleak.
Yeah.
It seems a dangerous thing to do on YouTube.
It's true.
Although, actually, I've noticed YouTube comments haven't gotten better, but everything else has gotten worse. So it used to be they were the worst, and I don't think they're anywhere close to the worst now.
They just started out at the worst. That was Tosin Cole doing all his own stunts there, by the way. They had a stuntman on standby.
Oh, don't
not to be all like Jody said, but Jody said that he kept he kept talking it up on set. Like, he was like, "Did you see me over there doing my own stunts?" And she was like, "You fell off a bike. I jumped across a crane." I mean, spoiler alert.
Let's look at this shot. By the way,
how far up were they for that? Like, how did they do that? The crane thing.
Well, let's get to it. How about, Warren? It's literally an hour away. I'm marveling at this.
Well, when we get there, Sage can explain to us if she said how it was done.
Oh no,
we
Sage.
didn't get into the technical of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Come on, I want the technical details. Actors are the best people to hear those from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What did Jody say about shooting in anamorphic lenses? What did she say, Sage? Come on.
This is important.
I did ask her in detail about that. Yeah. I don't know. Secrets.
This does look gorgeous.
TV magic.
Uh-huh.
Like, remember what a big leap it was from RTD to Moffat's, like, just in terms of the look of the show. And this looks better than Moffat's show, so it's...
Mm-hmm.
partly the lenses and the widescreen because it's 2:1 screen ratio, but also like the effects,
and,
these effects here. Yeah, I like DNEG is the new company doing it I think more or less is the first new. I know Milk sort of spilled off from whatever the previous one was during the RTD time, but it was mostly the same people still doing the visual effect. The Mill, thank you, couldn't remember. But this is an entirely new outfit doing it, and it just has a different feel and a different look. And of course, Sega Nakanola's music, which we haven't heard much of yet, but
I just like
back
that
in the old
got
days,
the phrase,
you could totally tell.
Yeah,
I just like that you got spilled in milk in there somehow.
Yeah. And Hershey's
back
Kisses.
in the old days with movies, you could totally tell who did what. Like you could, that's an ILM shot. It's way tougher to tell now, but it used to be you could tell which company did what. Mm-hmm. If you're a giant nerd like me.
Yeah. Did Jodie Whittaker say anything about the special effects in Superman 1 and Superman 2, Sage, at all?
I'm sure she has opinions.
We didn't get to that in our 25 minutes that we had together somehow, but maybe next time.
Okay. I know that Warner would want
Hopefully
to know.
She knows.
Yeah.
Me and Jodie are going to have a chinwag about this at some point.
Oh, yeah. She'll love it.
Okay, it's fine. It's the action figure. Whatever.
Yeah.
I love how he says police, maybe.
Maybe.
It's so sweet. I don't know what other agency he's possibly thinking of. Probably Unit, but he doesn't know it exists.
Yeah, right?
Well, or doesn't anymore.
And it doesn't, yeah. So
Cutbacks, yeah, Brexit.
There were rumors back in the day that Jack and Gwen from Torchwood were supposed to be in this, so maybe he wanted them.
Rumors
are stupid. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah. Jack wouldn't be caught dead in Sheffield.
I don't know. He's been caught dead in a lot of
He'd look
places.
at that hat, though.
That's a good point, yeah. Here's Yaz, by the way.
Here's Yaz. I really hope we get some more Yaz next season.
I was going to say, this is the most she does in the entire season.
It really is. Like, and it's so grand. Like, she's like, I want to do more. I want to try more. And then it's like, oh, you're sort of going to third wheel for the rest of the season, unfortunately.
You're the wrangler. You're going to keep other guest
even in something about your
characters
relatives,
moving.
you're still a third wheel.
I do love how long this intro is, and I love how much we get to know these characters before the Doctor shows up. I think that was really very smart.
Because you're launching a whole team, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember like how surprised, because maybe I wasn't reading a lot of like pre-broadcast hype rather, but I didn't know that Graham was basically Ryan's stepdad in a way. And so when Grace at the beginning says, you know, like, you mean granddad? You know, like, whoa, what? Because I always wondered what the relationship was when the cast is introduced. Like, how does Bradley Walsh factor into this? Why is, you know, so we all like thought, oh, maybe he's a teacher or something else. Like, we just couldn't put two and two together. And they solve it right off the bat.
And it's like, it reminds me a lot of the beginning of Rose, where you're just like, okay, here's this young girl going through her day, and this is what it looks like. But you have to do that with 3 characters instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, you have to give Chibnall credit for keeping this all under wraps, because that couldn't have been easy. And the BBC are very leak prone, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, not a lot has leaked regarding Doctor Who in the past couple of years. But really, I mean, it's just going back to, you know, the very first episode on Earthly Child. They introduced 3 people before we even see the Doctor halfway through the first episode. Yeah, Scrapyard and Totter's Lane. This poor woman dies.
It's just...
No, I'm not a fan of that.
Which one? I was like, are you talking about? Yeah, this poor woman. There's a lot of people die in this episode.
Yeah, and like innocent people,
I mean,
you know.
there is some death.
It's kind of sad that we get to meet them ever so briefly. Like we'll see the poor guy who's running security at the crane yard later on. But like we learn so much about them in just this tiny amount of time, and then they get killed.
And the least innocent of them all, Tim Shaw, lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No justice.
He's the weak link in this whole thing. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Although at the time he wasn't. He was just kind of there. Like, but I've seen better villains.
You can't really sink your teeth into him, right?
But much. Sharon D. Clark had a nice little part in Rocket Man. I was very happy to see her.
Really?
Yes. She's part of the framing device, which is because it is more of like a fantasy than it doesn't look like Bohemian Rhapsody, but the framing device is basically Elton John in sort of like group therapy, and she is leading the therapy group. And I was like, Grace.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So good for her.
Is Edgerton all made to look older, or is he in like 70s group therapy?
I think it's supposed to be the early 80s at that point.
Okay.
So they
So
age
he doesn't
him
look
up a
that much
bit.
older. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It only kind of goes into the early 80s. Recommend Rocket Man.
I heard it's very popular. Yeah.
It's fun.
Very good.
It's fun.
Did you do something for Bustle for Rocket Man too?
Yeah, I did. We did the video junket for that, which was fun. So I got to talk to Taryn and Richard Madden and Bryce Dallas Howard, who plays Elton John's terrible mother. Did not know how terrible she was.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Bryce Howard was not terrible herself.
She was not terrible.
Okay,
No,
good.
none of them were terrible. They were all very lovely. But she was like, I thought that they had to be overwriting her. And then I talked to all these people that knew her, and I was like, oh, yeah, she was really that bad.
Wow.
That's awful.
Yeah, poor guy.
Sorry, Elton.
It's all right.
Oh.
He,
Meanwhile-
he figured it out. Meanwhile,
Here's an impressive
Wire
effect.
Monster.
Look at this. Bunch of ropes and stuff. Wonder what's going to happen now. Oh, look, it's Doctor Who.
And I can't hear it, but I love where the theme kicks in here.
Well,
oh, yeah.
Right there. The opening titles were supposed to kick
so
in
great.
right there initially, but they decided, let's just not have them. 10
I'm
minutes
glad
in.
they
I'm kind of glad
didn't.
they did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it would just interrupt. It wouldn't work as well as this.
Because
Also,
you're seeing
the
everything from their perspective, not from hers, which I like.
Yeah.
also very Rose-like in that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm also glad that the fact this clip having leaked had no negative impact on it at all.
Yeah.
True.
Once I saw them on
One
the
thing that
train.
does bug me, though, is we have no idea how she fell and what made that not be deadly.
End of time rules apply here, I think.
I don't allow that. That's not canon. I just because I say.
I think it's within 15 hours of regeneration, you're fine. Like either way, like either end of it, 15 hours before or after, you are.
Yeah.
That didn't apply to Tom Baker.
It didn't. No, he was
Yeah,
too
realism
old.
goes out
He
the
was too
window.
old. Entropy affected Tom Baker. That's why he died when he fell off the radio telescope. All these things make sense.
That's why Pierre Davison in a moth outfit followed him around and nobody else.
Yeah.
I also love a character who does not want to be there, and I love Carl for this.
I know.
He just is
Which makes sense.
I gotta go.
That's completely rational. Why would you want to be there?
It is rational, and it contrasts him from the future companions. He's like, I don't want to know more. Why would I want to know more?
And that's a perfectly human reaction too.
Mm-hmm.
Like how many times we go, you know what? I'm just going to walk away from this. I don't want to know. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm just going to go home.
Every day of my life on Twitter, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna scroll past this, go and living my life.
No
Yeah.
kidding. She won me over immediately. Her and Matt Smith are the only two who've done that. So of the new ones, anyway.
Oh, wow.
I have to say this scene helped. This scene leaking.
Yeah, it didn't hurt.
It's weird how I'm placated sometimes by leaked footage, be it this new Doctor or indeed the new show in general, and how very I have no tolerance to it. At the time, I'll save it, but I'll watch it after it airs. No, come on.
Well,
I watched,
you
14
watched
seconds
Rose. You watched Rose early. Did you watch the season 8 Camargo stuff early or no?
I did not know because I didn't want to see an unfinished
I did.
product.
First two. It ruined it.
Yeah, it did ruin it, didn't it?
Yeah, so I won't do it again.
Yeah. The next time half the debut season leaks, you're staying well away from that.
Yeah, take that. Fate.
I love her in Capaldi's costume. I love that she's in it for almost the entire episode.
Yeah, like it gets pretty bedraggled by this.
Oh yeah, it's great, and it's just hanging off of her.
Yeah, I think we all kind of favor.
Are there any precedents for that? I guess 11 did that too, I suppose.
Yeah, totally. I like it, and indeed, well, actually, Tenet was in a nightgown for most of the time. We sort of like lean towards like doctors in darker costumes, and so whenever we see Jodie Whittaker in a dark outfit, I love that line. I'm calling the ass because we're friends now. It's almost like, oh, I kind of wish she had a darker costume on, and so there's some people that are kind of like not a fan of her actual costume because she's not wearing Peter Capaldi's coat. She's wearing a tailored for Jodie Whittaker Peter Capaldi, because Peter Capaldi is like 6'1" or something, and Jodie Whittaker clearly is not, despite what the character options action figure will have you believe.
They're all the same height.
She is actually shorter. As I'm looking at both of them now, and she is shorter than the.
She's taller than Colin Baker's action figure though, and I that's not.
That is true.
She's like 5'5", I think. Well, Sage, how tall is Jodie Whittaker?
Did not measure her, but not much taller than me. She was also in heels, so yeah, she was probably I think 5'5" is pretty fair. 5'5", 5'6". I'm 5'4".
Right.
She was in heels. I'm sure I was not, because I never am.
Was she wearing this? The first Doctor I'm taller than, but there's also the second Doctor. So.
Oh, and McCoy.
Oh, and too. I guess Sylvester McCoy's shorter than I am too.
Yeah.
But it's rare this happens. So.
Oh, here he goes. He just let me off this train. Poor guy.
And they just said, "Yep, okay."
Just head straight to the pub, dude. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Aw, poor Carl.
I feel
maybe he's an introvert. That's what I was thinking when I saw this. I'm like, maybe he's just an introvert. Doesn't need all this hullabaloo.
We don't get aliens.
Also a great line, and her eye roll, just perfect. I have to say this too, since I am the woman on this recording, but when we watched this, because it happened the last day of Comic-Con, of New York Comic-Con, was the day that the episode premiered. And they were showing it at Comic-Con, but there was a conflict with the David Tennant photo ops. And we didn't think that we could get into the room in time to be able to actually get a seat. So we just went back to our friend's apartment. And it was, I don't know, maybe 5-6 girls, a lot of our mutual friends. And the first thing we all did when we got into the apartment was because it was this really hot, gross, sticky day actually for the fall. And everybody took their bras off. And we were like, bras off for Jodie. And it felt incredibly symbolic. And I just want your listeners to know that.
And that's how you get a TARDIS full of bras.
Yeah, chuck them all in the TARDIS.
Because you're tired of
a smattering of bras, anyway.
A smattering. A murder of bras.
Yeah, there you go. A murder of bras.
See, despite
this is the only
having,
time I can just say that without being very strange.
Despite having literally everything catered to us, straight white guys in their mid-40s, we don't get to have those little moments of rebellion.
Oh, it is. You can't even imagine how that moment feels. It's the greatest thing.
Yeah.
No, you're right. We literally cannot imagine that.
True freedom.
Yeah. How did you feel 2 years ago, this recording day, July 16th, when she was actually announced as the new Doctor?
Oh, but I mean, before it happened, I was like, if this is another white guy, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I was at the point where I was like, I just don't know how I can continue on with this, what my life is going to look like if that happens. So it was really relief. And also, I just really adored Jodie from Broadchurch, so I was thrilled. Yeah, and then I remember I was going out to meet a friend who does not watch the show and had no idea. But I was just like, today's the best day ever. Do you want to know why? And she was like, oh, that's nice. And yeah, had no idea.
Patted you on the head condescendingly. Yeah. Oh, that's great for your little TV show. That's wonderful. So nice.
No, she was nice about it. Yeah, but people try, but you don't know unless you know, unless you go here.
Well, credit for, I mean, Chibnall, from the word go, knew that he wanted to cast a woman as the Doctor. And let's face it, was probably always going to be Jodie Whittaker, despite him doing auditions and stuff. But, if it wasn't for that, he would have basically had to be backed into a corner because, Stephen Moffat was laying the groundwork down pretty heavy in the last couple years of his run, showing that, look, women could be, men can change to women and vice versa and everything else. So, it's totally a thing there, fans. And so, when it finally happened, it wasn't out of left field. It was this is obviously a natural progression here.
Even with the Corsair, which is a fair while back, I think that's the first time they introduced the concept, officially.
I think you're right. Yeah,
could be wrong about that, but
as we record this as well, of course, the rumors of not just a woman 007, but a woman of color 007 taking over from Daniel Craig are abounding.
But Sage, since you're a fellow reporter, was your spider BS sense tingling? Because I'm I'm not seeing this on anywhere official. I'm just seeing a thing that's flying around the internet, and usually that means we're up for a disappointment. Don't get me wrong, I want this to happen, but I have not seen anybody say it.
It was coming from, I forget what the original source was. It might have been Daily Mail. So stuff that's Daily Mail and The Sun, iffy. I tend to, it's a little iffy. And as excited as I am about it, it still sounds like that is going to be a minor character unless that character is taking over in the
another
next film, which would be
great.
Or something. So, but also, not that's not for nothing. That's still amazing.
True. Yeah, no, I'm not complaining. I want it to happen. It's
it's
just my news sense is that this sounds like it's more of an internet thing than an actual thing.
Right.
She is David Morrissey to Daniel Craig's David Tennant in the next Doctor.
Oh, God.
Which is kind of a rip-off when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean...
we missed the scene where Jodie Whittaker sticks her finger up her nose, and I thought that was brilliant because how many women in lead roles in a show are allowed to stick their finger up their nose?
Oh yeah,
it's just
I think more should.
I know. Well, I agree. There's a certain amount of fallibility to that where, most women characters aren't allowed to be that fallible. We can't stick our fingers up our nose. Otherwise we'll be seen as stupid and everything. So when Jodie stuck her finger up her nose, thinking, yes, the hero of the show, who's a lady, has stuck her finger up her nose. That never happens.
Well, it's a very Doctor thing to do, isn't it? I mean,
it's
100% stick your finger up your nose.
Yeah.
One of the things we talked about when she and I spoke was just how freeing the role is in general, and not just for a woman, but just as the way she explained it. And I never really thought about it before. And she compared it to Broadchurch, where she was like, I have to play a set of circumstances. I have to play this woman who lost her son. Those are my circumstances, and I have to play them all the time. But with the Doctor, there isn't a lot of that because there's so much history that you can be playing anything in any given moment. And yeah, of course, there are moments where you're reacting to something that absolutely just happened. But for the most part, it's it's open. It's open, and you can access any emotion, you can access any moment, and you don't have to be thinking in the back of your head, what would a woman who had just lost her son do? And I never thought about it that way.
Or even what would a woman who just regenerated from 12 different men over the course of several millennia.
Yeah, even that.
I like it's that. More what would a 2,000-year-old Time Lord do?
Yeah, and there's no baggage. I suppose one of the benefits of not having any returning characters, that's a cool looking shot here, apart from the Dalek and Resolution, is that she doesn't have to adhere to previous reactions of previous Doctors when she meets a Cyberman or something like that. We can basically see how she reacts to just being the Doctor at this point.
Well, like I've said before, I like that they rebooted and almost kind of sort of classic Who in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of the week-to-week thing and not as much continuity and not as much. All that was cool to have in Doctor Who, but I'm kind of fine with this being a little simpler. It's not the right term for it, but I don't know, scaled down, I guess.
Yeah, not quite as serialized.
And I know people, I've had people complain to me about how, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor doesn't take charge like their Doctors. I'm like, this is a plus for me. Finally we've got a Doctor who isn't, and Eccleston didn't do as much of this either, just doesn't, wave in and go, I'm the Doctor, I'm a big deal. I'm like, I was kind of tired of that, no matter who took over for the role.
Mm-hmm.
Although Eccleston did show that type of bravado at the end of Bad Wolf.
but it wasn't the fallback. The Tennant was
No, it
really
wasn't,
like that.
yeah.
So was Smith, and so was Capaldi, honestly. So to not have a doctor like that, I'm perfectly fine with.
It becomes a bit of a
Anyway,
default,
sorry.
doesn't it? Sometimes, where because Matt Smith's early days were like very much in the background, sort of like bouncing around, having Amy and Rory talk to each other about how weird the Doctor is, and then by the end of it, he's doing all these massive speeches and like Rings of Akaton and Nightmare in Silver and everything. It's just okay. We've done this, and
Well, even
Capaldi started
Pandorica.
doing, and Pandora. I suppose he was doing it then too. Actually, yeah. So maybe in 2 years' time, I love that. I refabricated a phone, not anymore.
Not anymore.
I love that.
Oh yeah, this is very this part to me was so doctorish, where people were sort of worried that she was like, is she too soft? Is she too accommodating? And then it's like she just erased his phone and didn't get. There's just that aspect of like, well, this is what has to be done. So why am I supposed to care about your phone memory and all your pictures right now? That sort of
Run around like a maniac, like doctors
callousness.
do in the region, right?
Yeah. This looks like a video game to me. Like this, his right, like his position and the way he rises is, it feels very gamer to me.
From his Hershey's
Where's
Kiss.
the skip button?
Yeah. This actor who's about to meet his comeuppance, he was I recognized him, but I didn't recognize him. But then I looked on his IMDb earlier today, and he was in a show. What's it called now? Crashing, which is
Right, yeah.
The Phoebe
Set-
Waller-Bridge one?
yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, yeah. Who was also on the rumored list before Jodie Whittaker was cast as Doctor Who. The Emmy nominated, and probably by this time Emmy winning. Given the Emmys are handed out sometime in September, and we're recording this as I say in July, everyone.
She's also one of the script doctors on the new Bond movie, so that would give me a little more hope. There will be a black female James Bond.
Absolutely. We were talking about it today at work, and we started referring to Killing Eve, Fleabag, all of that as the Phoebe Waller-Bridge extended universe. So Bond is in there too. She's just going to take everything over, and I'll be happy about it. I would love her as like a showrunner.
Oh my God. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is Doctor Who showrunner.
Yeah, in like 5 years, 4 years, 5 years.
Which means she wouldn't be Doctor Who, because that
No, I want her to run. I want her
you'd
to
be
run
dead
it.
by the end of the first episode for exhaustion. I like this car as an absolute clunker. Look at this thing.
Yeah,
Old Volvo wagon.
I love
everything is
1980s
so
Volvos.
working class.
Yeah.
Her sleeves. Oh, it's so cute.
They are kind of frilled, like John Pertwee in a way, aren't they?
Yeah.
I just hope she doesn't do a bouffant. So mostly so Steven doesn't obsess over it.
I tell you what, I'm mildly surprised that they, in the very few shots that we've seen of Series 12, like there are barely, if any, costume modifications at all. Usually they sort of like, okay, we'll do this. We could change up this a little bit, maybe do this for that. But now you're all running at it. But they haven't done that. They're keeping with it.
Well, what we've seen anyway. She could
From
have, like,
from
a spare
the
costume we don't know
literal,
about yet.
from the literally like the two shots I've seen from the Jadoon episode, yeah.
And often they just don't ask. Like when Matt Smith showed up in this purple outfit just out of nowhere, that was the default outfit, just because.
Yeah, because why not? You can
Or
change
Tom
the
Baker
clothes.
even.
Well, yeah, Tom Baker changes. I mean, all the Pertwee and Troughton. I mean, Pertwee and Baker changed their outfits quite a lot, but the silhouette was still there, the scarf and the hat and the coat. I mean, but
Yeah, true.
And
Davison
McCoy,
did it all.
McCoy
so
did
it's
the
like-
best of collection as well.
yeah.
The best.
I would love to see
Grace.
more period costumes. Like if they're gonna go back to
Oh yeah.
18th century something, let's get some frocks going.
Well, there's one, and they're all in tuxes, right? That's the rumor anyway, or the set picture or whatever it was.
Yeah, that we don't comment on this podcast, and I just spoiled for
Nope.
everyone.
No, I just made that up right now.
Okay. Good. Well, at least my action figure is still like current because I've limited myself to one action figure per Doctor, and so depending on what
Me
costume I
too.
got, yeah, you too, Warren. You've only got one each, and so I'm glad that at least my Jodie figure is which I'm holding right now. is current for at least 2 seasons before she changes it up.
Speaking of action figures, I was going through my old Instagrams and I had a picture that had like the shelf and it said, Dolly situations out of control, send help. And there was like a third as many dolls as there are on this thing now. I'm like, oh, that didn't go well.
I haven't noticed this before, but I think Graham and Grace's costumes sort of complement each other a little bit. Like his scarf sort of matches her coat, which is very sweet.
Look at that, yeah.
Because they're striped?
They're that couple.
Yeah.
They have that kind of blue and reddish, like her collar sort of matches his scarf. A little coordinating.
The inside collar there of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Costume designers, they know what they're doing.
Although I'm sure she's not a West Ham fan.
Who is? I don't know.
Your
Graham.
talk is meaningless to me.
Graham's West Ham fan.
Those are the colors of the West Ham Football Club.
If I was going to choose a football team based on colors, I would cheer for Aston Villa. I think those are the ones like the burgundy and light blue. I think those are my favorite ones.
That sounds really poncy. Aston Villa sounds pretty poncy too, actually.
I know.
As a name.
The West Ham scarf he's wearing is kind of burgundy and light blue. I'm sure
maybe that's the team. Maybe that's the team.
I'm sure there's proper names for the colors.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think 3 Canadians and a New Yorker are the least qualified people to talk about British football. How about that?
I know. I'm like, I don't know their colors.
Although actually, I know Sage might have intimate knowledge of these games.
I don't.
I know.
You would know.
Did Jody have anything to say about West Ham or
another topic we didn't cover? You're making me realize that I just really, failed this interview by not bringing up.
What kind of a reporter are you, Sage? You got to cover the real stuff here.
Superman 1 and 2, and West Ham's colors next time.
Next time.
That's okay. The other day, a friend of mine's working on that show, To All the Boys I Loved Before, and another person was very impressed with that, and she's like, she named one of the guys in. I'm like, who's that? She's like, what kind of a journalist are you? You don't know that. I'm like, the kind that doesn't cover CW crap? Like, why would I know that? Like, I'm an old man. I don't care.
There's so many people. There's so many people to know. We have to cut. I'll be online for the MTV VMAs, and just literally, it's just a parade of YouTube celebrities and people I don't know. They're like, this person got famous on TikTok. I'm like, I am like 20 years too old for TikTok. So
thank you for saying that, Sage. Because
and you're a fair bit younger than we are. I just want to point that out. So
well, and when stuff happens like the Bachelorette or whatever show is happening, and you and usually Kim are like tweeting about it, and I'm going, I don't know what any of this is. So to know that there's even stuff that are beyond your limits of appreciation, Sage, makes me happy.
A lot of things.
I know whenever there's a Broadway outrage of some sort and the whole crew you guys starts talking about, I'm like, this is entertaining to watch, but I have no clue what's going on.
So true. I feel like
there's always one per week, so.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is a good speech.
This is a good speech.
With the N-word throwing.
Oh, here we go. Trailer bit.
Love it.
These faces
now when they take a step back, they're like, okay, crazy lady.
Like, what a... and we're not...
The genesis for now, but... The genesis for the Jody Funko Pop coming up, too, with the welding goggles.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
But the music that's going on right now, which is... The track is called Sonic Screwdriver, but it's pretty much the 13th Doctor theme with the little scrunch.
Yeah. Also, there's some premium scrunching going on here.
I know. I love this bit of music so much. So much.
she did her own stunts, so presumably that's also her wielding flamethrower.
That's her doing the flamethrower, yeah.
And the sledgehammer and...
So, dumb technical question that I'm sure Sage didn't ask.
Oh, God.
But, like, the same software in each of these Sonic Screwdriver. This is an all-new one, so this is all new software. So it doesn't have... You can't do 400 years worth of calculations on it like you could with the old one. Or how did she get the software into it? Like, how does that work? This is important stuff, by the way.
Wow. I think...
Oh, Canada right behind you.
Right Upper Canada Village banner. Yeah, represent.
Warren, I think you've never been more nerdy in all the years I've known you.
I know, that was pretty pedantic on my turn.
That Upper Canada Village thing is a bit of an out there reference. I don't know what it's there for. Obviously, I looked it up after.
It's like a theme village thing.
Is it in Canada?
Somewhere in Ontario. It's in Ontario somewhere.
Wow. Clearly,
it's in Upper Canada.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Clearly, when Arwell Wynne-Jones, the production designer on Doctor Who, was on our live show all those years ago, clearly we made such an impression on him that he decided, you know what, I'm going to put a banner from Canada on the first set I design when I'm back on Doctor Who. And so he did.
He does drop references.
That's true.
That's a
Quite a
pennant,
lot.
sir. A pennant.
I feel like you can go ahead and believe that.
Thank
and
you.
tell people that. Yeah.
Oh, well.
I buy it.
When you interview...
Yeah, it's basically just a 19th century theme park, essentially.
Nice.
It's Fort Edmonton, which will mean absolutely nothing to Sage, but our crappy 19th century theme park in Edmonton.
I like our crappy...
What's the name of that house right at the tip of Manhattan? That's like from the 1600s, the rich guy who owned much of Manhattan?
I don't know.
I can't remember either. I was going to go see it one time and I didn't, so. But it's way up top, like past Harlem.
It's not the Grange.
No, it's something else.
Not the Hamilton House.
No. But anyway, that would be the equivalent in terms of old-timey place that's been around forever in the city.
Gotcha.
I like how she
It's in Broad City where they walk from one end of Manhattan to another.
Oh, yeah. I just watched that one.
I like how she gets that wrong, you know. Two civilizations at war.
Oh, yeah.
Earth is the battleground. No, it's completely wrong.
Nope.
I like it when Doctor Who gets it wrong. You know, nobody really dies because of it.
You mean like, where is the deep?
Oh.
Good old Graham. Ask the pertinent questions.
I was surprised how much I like Graham.
Oh, me too.
I think we all
I've forgotten about your collarbones, Graham, is such a great line. She could have said the bombs, but just the fact that she says collarbones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Graham is, and this isn't even, I don't think, like when I really fell in love with him. I think it was the next couple episodes, but just a star. Oh, salad guy. Speaking of just a boring
this is my
star.
favorite line of the show. Eat my salad, Halloween.
This is genius.
I got to work that into a conversation somewhere. I'm not really sure how or where. Or I won't get punched if I do it, but...
And just that a drunken guy would be like just really offended by the fact that there was like vegetables on his takeout. Like it's just, it all rings so true.
He just chucks things in.
So stupid.
What a oof.
Sorry, guy. It's such a funny scene, and then he just kills him. Like it's.
Well, I mean, he did fling a salad
This
at him.
is a dark
seems fair.
episode.
What was he eating? It wasn't all just salad, was it?
Kebab.
It was a kebab.
Yeah, he
hate
just
raw
wanted the
tomatoes.
meat and the
Doner
chips.
kebab.
Interesting that the Doctor never really, in this episode, entertains or seems to entertain the idea that any of these people are going to come with her anywhere.
Yeah, it's just like they're people I know right now that are helping.
Yeah, yeah. And then I'll leave and it'll be over.
Mm-hmm.
Which
And
Capaldi
even
didn't do. Yeah.
Through Ghost Monument, too, she's like, I'm going to take you home and leave you there.
Yeah.
And then, well, that's all the way through to... I've only watched the series the one time. That's all the way through to Arachnids, isn't it? Because at the start of Arachnids, when they actually go back home,
Yeah.
then,
Right,
that's when
and
they're
they
all sad that
decide.
they might be breaking up, right?
Yeah, that great scene at the end, yeah. That drove the shippers wild with Yaz's forlorn looks at Doctor Who.
Well, I mean, Yaz's mom was convinced the Doctor and Yaz are a thing, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's really anything for the shippers to have to put too much of a leap of faith into.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as into the shipping lifestyle, let's say, as you would. You would know Sage more than I would based on fanfic and Kim being such a huge fanfic presence and all the rest of it. But it seems to me, and I could be wrong, that there's less hoo-ha about shipping this series, even with more people in it, than there was with previous series.
Yeah, probably
Or
on
am
the
I completely off
whole.
base?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't. I'm not super into it with it. Like weirdly, with Doctor Who, I don't read a lot of fic. Like even though I very much have shipped certain pairs, I don't read it because I feel like it's kind of all there in the show. So I haven't really dug into that. But I do see a little bit of There. I think for the most part, it's like it's Yaz and 13. And then even right after the announcement happened, people were already writing like Yaz and River.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Or not Yaz and River, 13 and River. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, well, yeah, that also makes sense. But it just seems less intense than it used to be.
Yeah,
or maybe I'm
I don't
noticing
think it's
less.
quite
I
as
don't know.
intense. Also, I mean, other seasons were really
Yeah, they've kind of leaned into
driving
it pretty
home
hard.
that storyline, and this one's a little bit more,
True.
If you want it, it's there for you, and if you don't want it, you can just kind of ignore it.
I love this exchange.
It is fun.
It's great.
I love the look
face.
that she gives when she gets reprimanded there. That's my favorite
Yeah.
bit. I also like the way it's framed, where he's like, a traditional camera shot there for Tim Shaw would be basically
More like
him
Jody.
in the right hand side, yeah. But we focus on his teeth more than anything.
Yeah, that's another thing that made this feel really different to me from Moffat and Davies.
Just how it looks, and the tragedy is that I watched this how I watched this, but I still subscribe to like Space here in Canada, which is probably CTV Sci-Fi now as this goes out. But they didn't air it in the right aspect ratio. It was like cropped and zoomed in. It was just like it.
What?
It was 16:9, and it really took it away from it. It really just sort of felt like weirdly claustrophobic when you're watching this. And so if you go to Crave right now, they're using the same masters, and it's 69. And come on,
That's weird.
it's dumb.
Yes, it's that too.
Yeah.
Because it's
Canadian
weird.
TV
'Cause
and dumb are two words that go together.
You'd think 16:9, so like 1.77 to 1, shouldn't be that huge of a difference from 2 to 1,
It's massive.
but it is.
Yeah.
Sage, what was Jody's thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say, what did say?
Canadian broadcasting.
Say,
We talked about feelings because we're girls.
Oh, God.
I'm kidding.
yeah.
I do. I don't know. I feel like the whole Earth hunting ground, like global or not global, like universal scavenger hunt thing is a little thin.
Yeah,
Is it just me? I don't know.
No, it's not just you. It is.
Okay.
It certainly isn't worth him showing up at the end.
No.
No. It's not the first time that a somewhat trivial villain has been, the main antagonist for a debut adventure for a Doctor, because you don't necessarily want to overshadow an entirely new time team double cheat.
Yeah, true.
With like, it's these like the most awesome villain. Like, imagine if like the Weeping Angels were introduced in like David Tennant's first episode or something like that. Like, we would just remember the Weeping Angels and not the Sycorax.
This guy seems so smug and self-satisfied about his self-validation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and then he does something in the end that the Doctor
Yeah, it's
really
rough.
doesn't like. Like, I don't think he is as good of a guy as he thinks he is.
I think you're right. This might be a, wait for it, nice guy.
Oh, misguided. He's
TM.
misguided. Yeah. Oh, here's this poor guy. Oh boy.
Yeah, this is depressing.
Isn't this somebody famous too?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I thought it was for some reason.
Aw,
Like
I hope
a
he's not
name from
listening.
yesteryear.
This guy's not famous. He's listening and like, oh,
Sorry, dude.
guess not. I've never been to Sheffield. Is this all accurate?
What the?
I've never been either.
Well, what did Jody say about it?
Yeah.
Oh. We
What a
talked
dump.
about her tour of Sheffield. What a dump.
The only other thing I think I've ever seen featuring Sheffield is the Full Monty.
Yes, good point.
Can't really compare the two.
I
No.
didn't see it for years. Yeah, I don't know. What what about Sheffield do you find the fact that there are cranes or that it's
I don't know.
dark, that that security guards get electrocuted by slightly dodgy aliens? Yeah.
Everybody works in the middle of the night, apparently. Nobody like has a day job.
No. It's a good point. I'm always confused about the passage of time in Doctor Who, like how much time has passed. Is this one night that we're looking at here?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
think so,
assumed
yes.
so.
Yeah. Apart from maybe when the Doctor is like knocked out after the finger in the nose. I don't know how long she was out then, but...
And it's a little more confusing towards the end because you would think that, Grace's funeral wouldn't happen the next day.
I would say that that's like at least 3 or 4 days because, Ryan's
think
dad
so, yeah.
gets invited and...
I would assume, which I guess gives new weight to Yaz's line when she was like, you really need to change your clothes.
That's a good point.
The Doctor has just been in these clothes for like 4 days.
Oh, God, yeah. No kidding.
Where has she been staying?
Yeah. Because they're all wearing different clothes. Yeah.
She doesn't have the TARDIS to hang out in, so yeah.
No, yeah. Where has she been? Whose couch is she sleeping on? All things I want to know and should have asked Jodie and didn't because I'm a bad journalist.
Come on, Sage, come on.
They love it when you ask them questions where they have to explain a hole in the writing. Actors love that.
Oh, yeah.
When you're like,
Which has nothing to do with them at all.
why didn't you tell me?
But at least it was recent and not 20 years ago when you were on a Star Trek, sir.
Exactly. I'm just basically the
Playing
comic book
Alien
guy.
number 3 with goop on his face.
What was Daisy
They're
Ridley
so
like?
cute. Daisy. She was great too. She swears a lot.
Awesome. Well, she's a Brit, so I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But in like she's so prim looking and then she has like a really filthy mouth, which is kind of fun.
Awesome. I think I might be in love.
Yeah. She was great. She immediately, I was like, oh, I love your shoes. And she was like, they're fucking killing me. Oh, sorry, I swore. You can beat me out, right? Sorry about that.
We got a
You totally
staser
have to do
blast for
that.
just that.
I know, we got those. What did we say at the beginning of this, Sage? Oh, boy.
I know.
That's what you're quoting. You're quoting her. Yeah.
I didn't say it.
You're quoting Ray Skywalker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
What? We were sort of told that the dyspraxia would be a bigger element, or I assumed it would be a bigger element in the season than it ended up being.
It does kick in a couple times, doesn't it? I think.
A couple times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Mostly with ladders.
Yeah. Like, I think in the last episode it's in there somewhere, I'm pretty sure. But I haven't seen this since air, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good Ryan and the Doctor moment when she sort of gives him, it's not even a pep talk. Like, she's like, you're already doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it. Like, you're second guessing yourself.
Is there a reason for that mask? It just seems kind of pointless.
Just for the dramatic reveal of the teeth, I think.
Like, other than that,
right?
I don't know what's the point of it.
I don't think there's a
Smashing
point.
windows, I guess.
It means you can put a stuntman, like every mask
yes,
on
true.
every
Good point.
henchman or guard over the years. Why do the stormtroopers in Star Wars wear helmets? Because then you can use the same 7 people in every single shot.
And Prince Harry and Prince William can be in a scene and you don't know it's them.
Which one were they in?
They were in the Force Awakens.
Were they in the Force Awakens? I know Daniel Craig was in the
so.
Were they
Force
the two
Awakens.
stormtroopers that turned around, or is that the ones who were like, well, we're not going to handle that? Or
I don't know which ones they were. I don't remember. I just know that they
Daniel
came by
Craig
and
is
did a
one too,
cameo.
right?
Yeah,
Daniel Craig has like a line,
several lines. Yeah, he's the
okay.
one that
right? But Harry and William don't talk.
Damn, I didn't know that. Or maybe I did and I forgot. And now I'm going to watch this movie anyway because I really like them. But
Yeah, there are photos of them on set. I don't know if you can figure out. I can't remember if they ever revealed which ones they were.
Listen, Adrian Emerson is in The Last Jedi. That's all the royalty you need.
There you go.
And gets the
He
first
of the
line.
young ones.
yeah.
Yep.
course, it's the last one. Should have been like the 8th last one or something like that.
No, where's the drama in that?
Is it?
Now, that's something they couldn't do in the first Doctor Who's, like the Rose and such, because you wouldn't have smartphones to look stuff up while you're on a crane.
I know. Modern Doctor Who is so old.
It really is, actually. Like you're walking around flip phones and such.
It's fascinating to watch it's fascinating to watch the progression of Doctor Who through the history of mobile phones.
Did Clara have a iPhone? I think she did.
She had an iPhone. She was the first one with an iPhone, I believe. Yeah.
This is important.
Yeah, it's
really important.
It's super important.
I had forgotten before I rewatched this yesterday that Ryan and Yaz were classmates.
Yes.
Which I think is something else that was not really meant to be a part of the story, but just a way to shorten that scene where they didn't have to be like, nice to meet you. Like, it was just like, okay, they know each other.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy. There was a word in between this and guy that I didn't say. Like, just do
or
it.
indeed in front of.
Yeah.
The,
It's just nice to see that the guy is the fallible one in this instance, and the one desperately needing saving, and the one who has the cushy job because it's his dad's company. Although how cushy is a midnight shift at a crane company, but
yeah, that is not all that cushy. But but having said it is nice that a character is not just that. There's a little to more to him, and it's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kind of nice.
I don't think he's evil or anything. I think he's just misguided.
No, he's
just
when he
Craven is a little too far. Yeah.
No, he's not Craven. I think he's just misguided. Like, I'm trying to be assertive by pushing this guy off because he was evil, but that wasn't his call to make. Here we go.
He's in over his head, is what he is.
Surely Jodie talked about this because this is Jodie Whittaker doing that jump, or bits of it anyway, with the harness on, obviously.
And very
mostly
close to
it
the
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly it was the fact that she couldn't believe that Tosin kept talking about his stunts when she had to do that.
Jump on a crane.
I think she maybe did say something else. Let's see.
Something.
I have my transcript and I'm looking at it.
Oh, nice. Okay, go for it. We'll watch the reveal again here.
Oh, she said, well, it was her first week that the crane stuff happened. All of that. Uh-huh. So, yeah, she was just basically saying, like, it's like, well, here's your new job. No time to sort of ease into it. You have your I am the doctor speech and your first huge stunt at like 4:00 in the morning.
Gosh.
And there's no time to second guess yourself, which is probably a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I think I enjoyed the reveal video and everything like that, but I just loved how she dove into the massive hype that was happening at San Diego Comic-Con. Like, I've spoken often about this on this podcast, but the that little I can't remember her name of her universe, the fashion show that they did.
Ashley Eckstein, right?
Eckstein. Yeah, that's the one. And then
that was great.
And then and then we see the person walking out with a Jodie Whittaker coat and with her face covered, and just that fan video where it's like this building anticipation, like everybody knows, oh my God, it's her, isn't it? And then she puts the hood back and it's her, and just her just basking in that moment. Like, I thought perhaps she would be, she's never been in anything like this, what this role demands. And how she completely bought into it and was just everywhere and just was, tireless and enjoying every moment of it. I thought, okay, she's going to be all right. She'll be fine.
It's got to be fun because it felt like that, especially like for Peter Capaldi too, of like being at this stage in your career where, I don't know, maybe if you were 21 and you got cast in like a Marvel movie, that would then be your life. But to have been doing all these other things that don't really have anything to do with like a huge fandom, and then just getting the opportunity to do that, you just have to have fun with it.
Like having a live TV special to announce you as a part of a
just for you to walk out and
like
say
that's
hi,
all
everybody.
you have to do. Yeah.
And you can't talk about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a great speech.
It is. This is one of those chances right there that, you know, how there's always a slight uncertainty on the part of the new showrunner or whoever's writing the new Doctor to sort of like trying to coax the fans of the previous Doctor into accepting this new Doctor. Like every Doctor has had it. You know, Matt Smith literally phones Peter Capaldi in Deep Breath to try and assure younger viewers, it's okay, he's Doctor Who now, you can like him too. And there's that certain bit, you know, we can change and we can choose who we want to be. And yet I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's warranted, really, because I think we're all, maybe just because we're fans, we know how this works. We all sort of buy into this new Doctor. Sure, I miss Peter Capaldi, but I got Blu-rays of him I can watch.
Right.
And her explanation of what the Doctor is pretty damn cool.
Mm-hmm.
Dash of panic.
And I like that she doesn't really have, because we have, 12 sort of had that identity crisis. Mm-hmm. And with her, it's like, oh, it's in the back of my mind and I know I'm going to remember it. Like there's that confidence there that it's like it's going to come back and she's not fighting it at all. And I really liked that take on it.
She feels like more of a blank slate, I think, than other Doctors of recent years.
Well, part of that is because it's so new in so many different ways.
It is, you know, like even though Matt Smith...
Like the show itself is a blank slate.
Yeah. Well, you know, Matt Smith was like new, but then by the end of his first season, you know, he's got like all his old enemies are meeting him. And so you really get the sense of that there's still this world weariness, whereas it's almost like the fresh new universe. Oh, and there's Grace. She's dead. Yeah. I didn't see that coming. I think that I was pretty naive.
No, I didn't either.
No.
I'm still so divided on it because I appreciate using a season to sort of examine grief, and I thought that they did some really cool, thoughtful things with that. But also, she would have been amazing. Like she just would have been amazing on the TARDIS, and I know that was never an option. It's not like it was either kill her off or she was going to be in the whole season. This was not what was meant to be, but yeah, I'm stuck between, fridging this amazing character and then like using this storytelling to I don't think they've really done that with grief, not in the modern series quite. Maybe, in like Heaven Sent, but not for a full season.
No. And not for, not to diminish Grace's character, but not like a character we meet once in one episode,
right?
Mm-hmm. Also, I get the impression that maybe Chris Chibnall and Stephen Moffat were not training notes at this point when they decided to kill off women companions of color, essentially, in back-to-back episodes. It's not necessarily separated by a year, but still, it feels like, Bill gets killed and now Grace gets killed. It just feels a little bad.
I mean, even if she wasn't a TARDIS, she could have had a Jackie role and it still would have been great, but oh well. It was not to be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, poor baby.
Mm-hmm. Gorgeous countryside, though. I wouldn't mind going to Sheffield if it looks like this. Hills. I didn't think
see
they had
guys
hills.
stumbling over their bikes everywhere. Yeah. Everyone has this dyspraxia.
Yeah.
How old is Ryan supposed to be? I forget. Is he like 19?
Well, he says he's 19 at the front.
19?
He's 19.
At the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know how old Tosin Cole is, but...
Mid-20s?
I'm guessing 25 or 26.
Yeah. That's my
it
guess.
seems
Somewhere
to be
there. Not 19, because,
No.
I mean, who knows? He could be super talented and he's 19. I don't know, but...
I mean, I don't know. This seems obvious, but like training wheels are called training wheels for a reason. I feel like, or maybe they've tried them with that already. I just feel bad that he falls all the time. I feel like there's a better way to learn.
I know I, as a
watching
19-year-old male, there's no way in hell I'd have training wheels.
Yeah, that's how I
I
think.
know,
dude,
but no
training
one's watching him though. That's why they
True.
go up there, so no one can see him.
For what it's worth, as we record this, next week he turns 27.
All right.
27,
Happy
man.
She does rock the vest, the Capaldi vest,
She
very well.
really does.
Possibly better than Capaldi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't love the dad stuff, I will say, especially the way it's resolved.
Mm-hmm. And
Just
resolution,
felt
you
a
mean?
little-
Yeah.
Yeah, a little pat.
If anything, at least it's done with now.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we
So let's
we
just
lamented
move
at the
on.
beginning of this, that Yaz didn't have as much to do this year, and well, now that the Ryan and Graham thing is has been settled, we can focus a little more on Yaz.
He's called him granddad. We're good. That's the point we all need to get to.
Arc done.
Did the fist bump? It was all cute. Yeah.
Amanda Gill is 31.
What? Come on.
She's 4.5 years older than Tosin Cole.
My God, she's almost as old as Jodie Whittaker. I think Jodie Whittaker is only
37.
7, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God for Matt Smith inoculating me about with the whole doctor much younger than me thing. So now I don't care anymore. Yeah, fine, whatever.
Jodie and Matt Smith are the same age, but Matt Smith is Doctor Who almost 10 years ago now. And that,
Incredible.
God.
Well, he is the youngest ever, isn't he?
Oh, he
Like
is.
younger even than Davis, because Davison was 29 when he got it.
29 when he got the role.
Yeah.
30 when it finally aired, or 32, 31 actually, I think. As we analyze birthdays of Doctor Who's, or Doctors Who, I guess it would be.
It's important. This is important data.
Mm-hmm. Anamorphic lens. Look at that zoom. Or the focus pull, rather.
The focal pull.
It's actually a rack focus. Yes.
Such a
As I
great
push my
performance
glasses
with
up.
Bradley Walsh here. Such a great
It's
performance.
really good.
Like, he is such
And when
a
he
revelation.
says, like, the 3 glorious years part, it just kind of hits you in the gut again. You're like, oh, these people haven't been together for 25 years. Like, he literally had 3 years with this woman, and that was it.
Yeah. And he's in, like, his 50s, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's 3 years? Like, 10 years ago, as we were saying Matt Smith was Doctor Who, I still remember that. Still remember when he was announced.
Mm-hmm.
3
Yeah.
years is nothing.
I remember the publicity shot where he looked like a proper hipster.
Yeah. Yeah. Bradley, I mean, this is, I think, the benefit of, us in North America not necessarily seeing everything that every British actor is in. I know Bradley Walsh has been in a lot of stuff in the UK. I've never seen him in anything apart from this. And
Coronation Street for me.
Sure. Okay. You've seen him in Coronation Street.
Also, the guy who played Carl was in Coronation Street for a while as well, so I know him from there too.
Right. And I
The
watched
only version of this I think Canadians can understand is when Mike Myers became a big deal in the States. You're like, the guy off Much Music? What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Really? Because for years he was on Much Music, like just being this sort of dirtbag in the background. And then all of a sudden he's Mike Myers. And now he's probably looking forward to being a dirtbag again. But, anyway. Enough of Mike Myers' storied career.
Amanda Gill is 31, man. Cass is like, I'm assuming someone who's 19 or maybe 20. 21?
It's like Luke Perry territory for 90210.
She's a con.
I mean, yeah, but that's standard. Like, actually, Sage could answer this better than any of us. This is a standard thing with actors where they appear younger just because.
Oh, it is, yeah.
They have to put the time in the first place, right? But but they want somebody who looks a certain way. Anyway, why don't you answer that, Sage, instead of me talking?
Yeah, no, do you know, did everybody see Spider-Man Far From Home? Right?
Nope.
Haven't yet, but
This is not a spoiler, but Brad Davis, their like new classmate, the like hunky guy, he's 32
oh,
in
come
real life.
on.
I looked him up.
Because he looks 21, 22, yeah.
Wow. Baby.
I love this scene, by the way.
Yeah.
just the best. And also, like I've said before, every costume of the new Doctors, I'm like, it's fine. And then it grows on you. This one definitely has grown on me.
I just like her like just arms out. She's like, "This is me now."
Yeah.
And then everyone else is like,
Yeah.
"Really? That's what you're gonna wear?"
Yeah.
This is it? Okay, fine.
But it does win you over, like, pretty quick.
It's kind of like Colin Baker's like, yep, this is my costume.
Not like Colin Baker's at all.
Yeah, well,
'Cause it's
colorful.
not
There are
offensive
nods
the
to
eye.
it. There are nods to Colin Baker's costume. Because Colin Baker immediately leapt like, yeah, I love this new Doctor Who, woman Doctor. Like, he was like one of the first.
But there's definitely a line that costume crosses that this one does not.
I think
Of good taste.
I really do think they took into account that is very easy to cosplay, and all of those pieces could be easily like merchandised. They 100% take that into account, I'm sure.
And then they
Capaldi
just
said that though, and
yeah,
his stuff was expensive as hell.
it was from Paul
of course.
Smith,
But people pay for it.
Yeah, they did.
yeah.
Well, the Paul Smith scarf, yeah, $130 for a scarf. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
Whereas these here, this outfit, they go end up putting a cosplay, and then her universe just comes out with basically a full outfit you can buy off the rack,
Yeah.
which is so
Just
cool.
right on
Microwave. I do like the what's the word I'm looking for? The homemade nature of all this nonsense.
Oh, DIY.
Ramshackle.
Very Doctor.
Yeah, Ramshackle's better than DIY.
I like how she also doesn't quite like stand on ceremony. Like, oh, I think I'm going to miss you. You know, like she still there's a certain detachment still.
Yeah, I really the detachment was what sold me on, well, partially what sold me on her, like that was her most alien quality. Like with Matt
And leaving us
Smith, it's
here
kind of the
is good.
floopiness, like, you know, that he's all
Yeah.
over the place, and for her, it's a little bit like she seems like she's warm, and then she's like, oh right, you're still here.
Yeah, it's like I think I'm going to miss you. Like, you know, my default reaction is to not miss you. I'll bump that at 1. Good cliffhanger.
That is a great cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the first time we hear the theme is right here in the closing credits.
And we
The closing
didn't know
credits
at this
also by John
point,
Smith.
What's
like,
that?
we didn't know at this point when or if we were going to see the TARDIS this season.
I know. That's what I like.
Which is crazy to think back on.
It is excruciating.
Yeah, it's excruciating.
I've always thought that would be a good dramatic pull to sort of have like the TARDIS being separated for, I think, a whole season, but 1 episode is good enough. And now this, speaking of, North American people not knowing who British actors are.
This confused the hell out of me. Yeah. It's like, who are these people?
It's like,
What?
Other than Alan
Again.
Cumming, I have no clue.
Again, half of them from Coronation Street.
yeah, of course.
Shobna Gulati and Julie Husband-Howard, and yeah.
And because we don't know them, they're like, it just went on and on and on. And you're like, when's this end? Like,
I
is this the
know.
entire season? What's going on here?
And like it's in seemingly random order. Like it's not alphabetical. It's not chronological
It's not
in
by
terms of
episode, yeah.
episodes. It's just like, and like I remember as this was going on, thinking, oh, maybe this one I'll. Nope, I remember him from an episode of The Thick of It.
I hope you at least knew who Alan Cumming was out of
I knew
all
who.
of
Yeah,
these,
but
Yeah. Alan Cumming and Chris Noth, for sure.
Alan
Yeah.
Cumming was not the surprise because he himself blurted it out in a radio
He did.
show. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he spoiled it.
Don't know what that is. Don't know who Phil's Logan is.
It's Aunt May. No, maybe
There we
not.
go. Oh yeah,
There we
okay.
go.
Alan Cumming's there. Yep, and perfect. And then this was the one that surprised. I go, what? Chris Noth.
He was kind of a waste in this, like, because for that character to work, he needed to come back at some point, and he just doesn't. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless he's back
I
next
would've
season
thought he
somehow.
would.
Well, that was enjoyable. I quite enjoyed that. I hope everyone did too. I know some of you haven't watched it for like Warren and Chris probably haven't watched it since last year.
No, not in a while.
I
I
watched
still
it-
like it though. It's one of my
I
favorites
watched
of the
it on
season.
Watched it on the plane down to Gallifrey 1.
Wow.
Nice.
That's the last time I saw it.
Well, that's delightful. Well, I think we've done well here. I think we've kicked off this little series quite nicely, and all thanks to you, Sage, and your numerous Jodie Whittaker anecdotes about you're probably talking about I don't know, videotape restoration and
That was top of the list.
all the
I
other
knew if I had
stuff.
to bring something up, it was that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We really went into lost episodes real hard.
BBC Model Shop and their various works. Yes.
Exactly. Sage, where can people find your stuff on the internet?
Oh, well, you can follow me on Twitter at Sage Youngest. And you can follow Head Over Feels at Head Over Feels. And you can find some of my writing at bustle.com. And just check out the Bustle Entertainment section too, because I run our movies coverage.
Awesome.
So find me there.
We're recording this in July. It's going out literally, I think, the week before New York Comic Con. Is there
All
anything
right.
coming up at New York Comic Con that you're?
Oh my God. Christopher Eccleston is coming, which is extremely exciting.
Christopher Eccleston will have been in Edmonton by the time this goes out.
saw.
Actually, I know, crazy, isn't it?
I love that he's doing this. And I don't know what he's doing besides autographing at this point. But maybe there'll be a chance to see him speak on a panel. I'm not sure. And I think they're trying to it seems like they're trying to get a lot of Lord of the Rings folks this year. So it seems like they might be planning something big, but they haven't announced any big panels yet as of right now. So I'm going to sound real stupid when you're listening to this a week before and they probably announced like a Lord of the Rings reunion panel.
Right.
I wonder if that goes with the Amazon's Lord of the Rings thing too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if they're going to bring...
know. Who knows? Mm-hmm.
And they usually do like a big, Marvel Netflix panel, but that doesn't exist anymore. So who knows?
Gosh. This is fun speculating about things in October and
Isn't
July.
it?
Yeah,
that are about to happen.
Yeah.
We already know by this point.
I know. Yeah. All right. That's it. Thank you again, Sage. Next week, of course, will be episode 2 of The Ghost Monument. So we will speak to you then, everyone. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro, subscribe to us on iTunes, and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.